Are Manchester City champions, or just the biggest scandal in football? This is Drawn from Football, animated football stories. 115 charges, one football club, and a case that could change the future of the game forever. Because this isn't just another controversy. This is the Premier League accusing its most dominant team of breaking the rules that every other club has to follow. And if those accusations are proven true, the consequences could be historic. Right now, Manchester City sit at the top of world football, treble winners, Centurion record breakers, a team that doesn't just win, but dominates. Week after week, they make the impossible look routine. Opponents don't just lose, they get controlled, outplayed and suffocated. But behind the success, behind the trophies and celebrations, there's a growing storm waiting to explode. Because not long ago, this wasn't Manchester City. Before the billions, before the superstars, City were a club living in the shadows, overshadowed by their neighbours, outperformed by their rivals, a team searching for identity and relevance. And in 1998, things hit rock bottom. Manchester City were relegated to the third tier of English football, something that was unthinkable for their supporters. Empty seats, fading hope, and a long, painful road back. But slowly, step by step, they began to rebuild. Promotion followed promotion. Momentum returned. The fans believed again, but even back in the Premier League, City were still just part of the pack. Competitive, but not dominant. Present, but not feared. Then in 2008, everything changed. The club was bought by Abu Dhabi ownership. And overnight, Manchester City became one of the richest clubs in world football. Money was no longer a limitation. It was a weapon City would actively wield, and the entire football world started to take notice. With new ownership came a new ambition. This wasn't about survival anymore. This was about domination. Top players were targeted, huge contracts were offered, and a clear message was sent. Manchester City were no longer here to compete. They were here to take over. Then came the first shock to the system. Robinho, a superstar signing on deadline day. A player expected to join one of Europe's giants, suddenly choosing Manchester City instead. It was unexpected, it was bold, and it signalled a new era had begun. And the signings didn't stop there. Yaya Toure, David Silva, Sergio Aguero, world-class players, arriving one by one. This wasn't just recruitment, this was construction. The building of a team designed to dominate. And came the moment that changed everything. 93 minutes and 20 seconds. Aguero, goal. Manchester City, champions of England. From the brink of failure to the very top in the most dramatic way possible. And just like that, the balance of power shifted. That title wasn't the peak, it was the beginning. More trophies followed, more success, more control over English football. City weren't just winning anymore, they were establishing a dynasty. Then came the final piece, Pep Guardiola, a manager known for redefining the game itself. And under him, Manchester City didn't just improve, they evolved. Possession became dominance. Passing became precision. Every movement was calculated. Every game was controlled. This wasn't just football, this was a system. A machine constructed by Pep, using Abu Dhabi's millions. And it was almost impossible to stop. Records began to fall. 100 points in a single season. Centurions, historic win streaks, goals being scored at unbelievable rates. Manchester City weren't just the best team, they were setting a new standard. And in 2023, they reached the summit. The Premier League, the FA Cup, the Champions League, the treble, the ultimate achievement in club football, complete domination on every front. The other team in Manchester were now the noisy neighbours. But just as they reached the top, something changed, because while the trophies were being lifted, questions were being asked. In 2023, the Premier League made its move and charged Manchester City 115 times. All charges for breaches of the Premier League's financial rules, a number so large it sent shockwaves through the entire sport. Take that in. 115. The allegations were serious. Financial rule breaches, hidden payments, inaccurate reporting, failure to cooperate with the investigation. Claims that the true financial picture may not have been what it seemed, and that all Manchester City's success may have come at a cost. These weren't isolated claims. They stretched across nearly a decade. From 2009 to 2018, did Manchester City have an unfair advantage? Year after year, allegations stacking up, building a case that could rewrite history. Manchester City responded immediately. They strongly denied all charges, confident and defiant, insisting that all their success was built on legitimate foundations. Fans reacted in different ways. Some stood firmly behind the club, trusting the success and still believing in the project. Others began to question, wondering if there was more to the story. Across the league, rivals watched closely. Those pipped at the line by City had a keen interest, because this wasn't just about Manchester City. If the charges were proven, it could impact titles, records, and history itself. And the possible punishments: severe points deductions, relegation, even the possibility of titles being stripped away. Consequences that could shake the foundations of English football. Now, the football world continues to wait for investigations, for hearings, and for the final verdict, a process that has taken time and could be longer still, but will define an era. Because this isn't just about rules and fairness, it's about legacy, a legacy built by Manchester City. How will this team be remembered? As one of the greatest ever? Or will all their achievements be forever tainted? What if the charges are proven? What if the titles are questioned or even taken away? It would change how we see this era, forever. But on the other hand, what if they're cleared, found not guilty? then this team's legacy becomes even stronger. So what is Manchester City? A footballing masterpiece, built through vision and brilliance, or the centre of one of football's biggest controversies? An institution built on breaking the rules and believing there would be no consequences. The verdict still hasn't been delivered yet, but when it is, it won't just affect one club. It will define an entire era of football and maybe change the game forever. Subscribe to Drawn from Football and turn on notifications for more stories like this. You can also comment any stories that you would like to hear.